So I just came from watching Speak No Evil, the 2024 remake of another movie, I think from 2022, which I've never watched. I intentionally decided not to watch the 2022 film simply because I didn't want to do the whole comparison in my head. I just wanted to watch this film by itself and rate it as it is. For those of you who have not watched it, here is a simple premise. It follows a couple who are invited by another couple to their country house for a weekend holiday. The hosts soon begin to test the limits of their guests as the situation escalates. It stars James McAvoy, and this movie is under the genre of psychological horror. I personally wouldn't classify it that way. I would classify it more like a suspense drama. That's the way I would describe it. James McAvoy plays Paddy. Paddy is like this big dude, alpha male type vibe, and uh, the movie does like this contrast where James McAvoy's character is this alpha male Chad type dude. He's pretty jacked for this role. The last time I saw him this jacked, he was playing a beast in the Split movie. But he plays like this alpha male Chad dude, and then in contrast, the other couple is like this flimsy beta male looking dude. Yeah. So clearly, I was like, as a guy who did psychology in campus, I was like, oh, there's going to be like a perfect play of personalities here because there's like a charismatic alpha male and there's this like coy beta male looking dude. Anyway, James McAvoy, great actor. He carries the film pretty nicely. In fact, I think the movie is about what 1 hour 40 minutes. I think 1 hour 45 or something like that. And yeah, it's 110 minutes. 110 minutes is around 1 hour 40. So I think for the first 1 hour, I'm mostly watching it because of James McAvoy. Remember, I didn't watch the original, so I was only watching it simply because James McAvoy is there. I think the movie is called Speak No Evil because you can tell something is wrong with the way James McAvoy, his chick, and his kid, the dynamic between them. You can tell something is wrong. It's very odd the way they are interacting. I haven't watched the original, so I have nothing to compare it to. Also, this movie gave me like serious Get Out vibes. If you've watched Get Out, you can probably see what I'm trying to describe. Like Get Out is also about a couple. Everything seems normal until it's not. Even in Get Out, there's this one scene with photos. In this movie, there's another scene with photos. I don't want to give any spoilers. The first hour, in my opinion, was pretty slow, but not slow in like a boring way. I didn't find anything boring. But the first hour takes its time to do setup. Typically setup of a film is about 20 to 30 minutes. This whole film, I think the first 1 hour is just setup. It's setting up what's going to happen in the last 40 minutes of the film. The movie drops these crumbs that let the viewer know that something's not right here. So just keep watching and it's going to unravel itself. It's a movie that requires patience in case you haven't watched it. I feel like it's a new kind of horror for me because when when someone tells you horror movie, you typically picture decapitations, gore, violence, someone being chased a lot. But this one, the first 1 hour 20 minutes of the film is pretty much just this anxiety fest where you can tell something's wrong, and there's like this unspoken tension. There's like this unspoken tension in the room of stuff that's happening, and you can tell, something's not right here. There's this one scene. This isn't a spoiler. There's this one scene. So James McAvoy's character is called Paddy. Paddy is a doctor. So there's this one scene where this other couple has known Paddy is a doctor, and then suddenly Paddy just says, "Oh, I'm not a doctor. Did I tell you I'm a doctor? I'm not a doctor." So it was meant to be a joke, but the way he gaslights them and acts like, "Oh, I'm not a doctor," and then later on he's like, "Haha, you should have seen your faces the way you believe me." That for me, that specific part was where the movie like really nabbed me properly, and that's when I knew, oh, this is about to get like really really awkward, because you can tell something is wrong. It's like the couple knows something is wrong, and James McAvoy and his girl know that they know. So, they know that they know, that they know, no, like that. Yeah, so it's like this unspoken tension where you're like, you saw and you saw him and he saw you, and he knows, and yeah. So another thing that I really like about this film is that it has good setup and payoff. This isn't a big spoiler. There's this one scene where the two couples go swimming, and James McAvoy's son can't swim. This later becomes like a huge plot point of the third act. So that was very good setup and payoff. And it's not the only one, it's just one of the many examples. I think from the 1 hour mark all the way to the end of the film, it's just pure anxiety. I was watching the film like I'm on the edge of my seat, like, because the movie is just super anxious, highly tense situations that I think would typically happen to anyone. And I think that's what makes good horror, is when you are in a situation that is very realistic. The viewer is watching and they're like, yep, this would probably happen in real life very easily. No. And lastly, the ending had me shook. As I said, no spoilers, but the ending. In the ending, James McAvoy just says, that's my boy, and then something happens and it left me shocked. I'm going to keep it vague in case you haven't watched this. But yeah, I don't know about the original, but for me, this one gets. I would give it like an 8 out of 10. It's a bit slow in the first hour, but it's because it's setting up everything. But by the time it ends, it's probably a film you'll probably remember very easily. I can't give it a 7.5 because James McAvoy's acting is good. Like the other day I watched Last King of Scotland, and then I watched someone reacting to like X-Men First Class. So for me, James McAvoy has been someone I've been watching recently, and the man is good, top tier acting. Like I said, I watched him in Last King of Scotland recently, like 2-3 weeks ago, and I was like, I can't imagine that character, that dude. The dude in that film is this same terrifying dude in this film. Really good acting. So, if you're a James McAvoy fan, I think you'll love this one. Yeah, so that's my review. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me what you thought of this film. I give it an 8 out of 10. Pretty good, pretty good. I'll leave other reviews I've done here. Please tell me what you thought of this film, and then I'll see you in the next one.